Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Liverpool have beaten Everton 2-0 in the Merseyside Derby, and I find myself a little bit confused, incredibly disappointed, trying to be sensible on both sides of this one, because from Everton's point of view, it was really bad, really bad. We'll have a look at the stats, we'll have a look at the fact that for me, a couple of players kept them in it, but also, the errors for the goals are absolutely woeful in this game, and what they offered going forward was absolutely terrible as well. So many areas where you could kind of go over the top if you wanted to, but you could also kind of retain a sense of calm when it comes to Everton, because obviously huge games are on the horizon, and you are playing a Liverpool side that, I think, at the start of the season, if you lost it 2-0, not that you want that to happen, of course you don't, but it's something that you kind of get away with without being totally embarrassed. And as poor as it was, you didn't get totally embarrassed from a sort of scoreline point of view. For Liverpool, I think it's one where one must beware hubris. You got to keep calm on this one. I think you do need to keep calm on it, because as much as the sort of stats look nice, it's got 9th here. Some people saying 8th, top 8. Oh, what? Dreaming of top 8. Am I right? Dreaming of top 4? Quite possibly. Look, expected goals 2.19. Obviously, loads more possession. Obviously, loads more shots. And in every single metric, pretty much. Just miles better. 3 big chances. 1 missed. But the thing for me that I'm struggling with here is that I wouldn't suggest Everton were really crap. And I don't think... See, look, Liverpool fans are going to go at me and go, oh, you're not giving us credit when we deserve it. Look, you got the job done. But what I would say is that game state, I think, would have made this look incredibly different if some really simple defending occurred. There were moments of brilliance within that. Darwin Núñez, we'll talk about Darwin Núñez. I did that video which had that title, but I think actually that video was right. If you go back and look at it, it's about him being on that left-hand side. I think he's so much more effective on that left-hand side. We'll have a look at that. But the goals are just so bad. So bad. Let's talk about Everton. Let's talk about Everton first, and then we'll get to it. We'll get to Liverpool, because I want to talk about Bajcetic. I want to talk about Núñez and Gakpo. Gakpo scoring his first goal is massive for them, isn't it? I want to talk about Matip as well, with that Champions League game coming up. And really importantly, I want to talk about Trent and Robertson. If you are new to the channel, I do a lot of lives. I'm going to be doing a live for Arsenal Man City, of course, as well. Massive game this week. And there's going to be loads of big games, especially between now and the end of the season. So if you want to be a part of that, hit the subscribe button for me. You can do it right now if you want. It'll only take you a second. And hit the notification bell as well. And hit the like button, of course, as well. And you can get involved in the chat. We've got a super chat actually straight off the bat. Ashley Young, new camera, Liverpool back. Do you know what? I did a shoot last week, and he's twiddled with it, and it seems to look better. People seem to be enjoying it. I mean, that's great. I'm pleased. It's not a new camera. But look, the fact that you're enjoying the look is good. I have put the frame rate. I've bumped it up a little bit. I feel like I can touch your face. Yeah, look, I'm right here. Maestro D always chips in with the super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. You can put the Dyche into Everton, but you'll sadly put the Everton into Dyche. Well, okay, let's dive into this, because in terms of those lineups and the average positions and how they play, we can have a look at it. I think what's incredibly revealing about it when it comes to Everton, we will definitely give Liverpool their moment in the sun, let's say. The huge thing here is the problem up top. And, okay, let me say my punchy line. Let me get it out there because it popped into my head. Everton staying up or going down depends on one person, in my mind. And it depends on the fitness of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It truly, it was so stark in that game. It comes down to that. if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is playing in this game, it's a very different game. Like now, I don't think you can have any kind of like anger towards Ellis Sims. Like he's got thrown into this, and I get what Dyche was doing. There was a good feeling before the game, and you think, go on, have a go. He's a big guy, and you think if you're going to play that 4-5-1 that they wanted to play here to congest that midfield, as you can see with that midfield three, then Ellis Sims, Dyche believes, can hold up the ball that little bit better than Maupay. That did not occur. Ellis Sims actually, I think won 5 of his 10 aerial duels, or duels in general, but didn't hold on to the ball. He lost the ball 8 times. And the fact is that for Everton to get up the pitch, you need to be able to find him. He needs to stick his bum out. He needs to be able to hold up the ball, and that would allow other players to sort of bring him into play. And actually, if I just go quickly and find it, I bet I would put really good money on the Arsenal game being very different. I haven't actually done this, obviously. Where is it? Everton's last few fixtures. You will see that if you have a player that can hold on to the ball, you're probably going to have a better chance. Let's have a look. I mean, I might be miles off it. I might be absolutely miles off of it. It's worth a little quick experiment. Well, there you go. Okay, so look, you've got other players in and around that striker. That's so important to the way Everton are going to want to play, because they're going to want to be solid at the back. And with Ellis Sims, or if it's Maupay, the one thing I felt like Dyche did do is I felt like Dyche, he quit a little bit, if I'm honest. I felt like Dyche, and I kind of understand it. I thought it was one where, you know, you're playing against a really good team here. It's Merseyside Derby. You're at Anfield as well. It's one of those ones where you just want to get the hell out of there at that point. And that feels like it is quitting, but it's actually really sensible as well. Let's just go back to those average positions here, because Ellis Sims so far away, wasn't able to hold on to the ball at all. Wasn't getting any fouls, as Adams just said there. And the players around him, you know, the midfield 5, I thought Iwobi sort of huffed and puffed, but was overall really, really poor. And he was the best of a bad bunch in this one. I thought the other players were absolutely woeful. Doucouré got a lot of work done. But in terms of holding on the ball, being able to drive past a player, take players out of the game, or get up top to Ellis Sims, I think that's the difficult part of it. But him and Onana, I thought, were absolutely crap. Idrissa Gueye, as a sort of deep-lying playmaker, was awful on the ball. His touch is not good enough. He's nervous there picking up the ball, which is why you want to go that little bit longer, but you can't do it because Ellis Sims was... I think Ellis Sims got kind of... He got caught up. You know, the occasion was way too much for him. And he was in quicksand, really. He really was. And we've all been, like, you play a game and you play bad touch and you're not feeling great. And then it just becomes too big and you drown. And I felt like he drowned. Dwight McNeil was woeful. So bad. And there was a moment in the last minute where Seamus Coleman, I think, got the ball. And he looked to put a cross in. And he had a second. And he looked, and it was Maupay and Damari Gray in there, and Tom Davies, who actually got a header and probably should have scored a goal. But that's not going to keep them up. And it's interesting, as much as they looked great against Arsenal, and even in this game, you know, that first goal doesn't need to happen. That first goal comes from, you know, an Everton corner. Seamus Coleman has to take the lot. Or just retreat. You can't just be messing about like that. And then once they break, it's very difficult. I think Darwin Núñez does it brilliantly with the pass that's played there. It's not easy when you're sprinting as hard as you can. But then Jordan Pickford, what on earth is he doing? Now, I'm not saying he's going to save it, but what is he? Can someone put in the comments? Can someone put any kind of reasoning to what was he doing? Like, as they're running, you're seeing the runners, aren't you? And it's going to be Salah. Surely it's going to be Salah. Certain thinks I'm being a bit harsh on the Everton midfield. I just thought they got completely overrun by, I mean, let's have a look at it, by, you know, Fabinho, who's had the worst form of his life, I think, this year, and an 18-year-old. What I would say for Everton is that if you're trying to keep the ball, and especially when, you know, you've got your players who are going to be sort of back into the side of you. What I would say is that you need that guy to be able to offer himself up, and it wasn't happening at all. But that's why I come back to the fact that if Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't fit, you're going to be playing Damari Gray and Maupay trying to play a Sean Dyche system. I thought the one thing that he could have done is gone to a 4-4-2, played long, used the long balls from Cody. I don't have a problem with that, but you need to get someone near Ellis Sims. If you'd put Maupay on for Decore or Onana, I think you would have given yourself a better chance to do something, but it wasn't to be. Like I said, the first goal was a mess. The second goal was just as bad, and that's the funny thing. If you have a look at it, like the goals at the end of it all, the first one, look, you can see there, it comes from a sort of lull. Like Liverpool have had some moments. Sorry, I'm looking at the momentum bar on the left hand side here. First goal comes from there, and that's really going to kill them. Conceding the first goal, which, when let's be honest, they were going to sort of stick in there as long as possible. And then the second one, Connor Cody just has an absolute stinker. Now, speaking of someone who has no pace whatsoever, you often try and read what's happening. And when he does that, which he does do, he then drops that little bit further back. And if you're going to drop a little bit further back, you must commit to the ball. He will be having sleepless nights tonight because it's just not acceptable. Like you've got to be proactive. You've got to be on the front foot. And you've got to clear the ball. And if it's, again, like I'm being incredibly negative about Everton in this video. And I think it's fair enough because it was pretty turgid stuff. But if that first individual error doesn't occur, especially from your own corner, you're still in the game. It's 0-0 at half time. Liverpool would start to tense up. And aside from that, they actually defended okay. I thought Tarkowski was fantastic. I thought Tarkowski kept the score down. I think he had 6 clearances and 2 block shots as well, which was really, really impressive. But yeah, I think it's gonna. What Everton fans need to get ready for is the fact that, first of all, we haven't got Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think you're in massive problems. Second of all, I think the games that you lose will feel horrific, but I think you will stay in more games. And I think when it's Burnley, they lose a game, you forget about it because it's Burnley. You're not bothered about it. And, there isn't the same spotlight. With Everton, it will feel a little bit different. So the question is, can Everton fans kind of cope with that, keep calm about that? And that's what I mean. Like, look, if they go and beat Leeds by playing spiky, smart football at the weekend, you've got 6 points from 9 when you've played Liverpool away, Arsenal and Leeds United. So I don't think the new manager bout is done, but I think that was. See, what's funny is that we're going to get onto Liverpool now. I feel like I'm actually struggling to give true credence to a change. Are they back? That kind of thing when it comes to Liverpool, because I just think Everton was so poor. So I think they will have much harder tests. Like the Wolves game is so much more of a test for that midfield than a game against those 3 in midfield, because they weren't at the races. They didn't have an out ball. It made it easier for Liverpool to press. But that said, I thought Jordan Henderson was his usual self. I thought Fabinho and Bajcetic looked pretty solid there. And Bajcetic, I mean, wow. Like you've got to give credit to someone like 18 years old, getting about the pitch the way that he did. He's so slight, but he hangs onto the ball. I think the thing I'm wary of when it comes to him is, putting too much on him and making the midfield totally about him. He still needs to be a guy where, like Curtis Jones, a couple of years ago when he's come in, when Harvey Elliott's come in, and those moments, those young players come in to sort of bring him in and go, yes, you can go, wow, you're doing brilliantly there. But there's going to be some games where he gets undone. This is a game where essentially you've played a team that's kind of playing championship football to a point. And so he looks good. But, you can only look good in what's in front of you. I thought Salah looked really good. And I thought as a whole, if we have a look at Liverpool, they just stayed a lot wider. I mean, that's what Everton kind of wanted them to do. But they were happy to do that. Salah stayed really wide. Can we get his heat map? There we go. Salah stayed really, really wide in this one. And Darwin Núñez on the left-hand side, that's what we've been screaming for. I think he's so much more effective there. in terms of that chaos element from him. And even the sort of shot that he had that sort of whizzed past the bar, he had another shot, which I don't think he's ever going to score from that one on the right-hand side. But that's where he's better. He's better on that left-hand side. And this is what's going to be easy. I'd love to know how you guys feel about this when it comes to Diaz coming back or other players coming back. The thing I've consistently said is I just don't really like him through the middle. I like him sort of over on that left-hand side. So is this the kind of future? Because one thing that I think you will get used to and I think you'll enjoy is that run from Gakpo. When Gakpo gets the ball, and I'm giving up on Hakpo because no one's saying it that way, so I'm going to say Gakpo. Gakpo, there was a moment where he got the ball and made that little sort of elegant turn and then drove and sort of put the afterburners on, just glided past players. If you've obviously seen Gakpo play, but not play and do that often, that is what he's about. And that is what he's about, I think, in that kind of area of the pitch. I quite like that. And I think that could be the future. That could be the future for them. But, of course, Jota coming on, I think, is a massive, massive plus for them as well. As I said, we've spoken about Bajcetic. I thought he was really good. Nunez and Gakpo there looked nice. I think there was a better balance there in terms of that width that they both provided. But Nunez is going to work and drive in at some point. Salah and Trent did well, and I wanted to work at Trent and Robertson. I thought Trent defensively was brilliant. Yes, it's Dwight McNeil. Yes, Vinicius Jr. is on the horizon. That's a different thing, and that's maybe kind of the example that I'm trying to get across here. Is that I think it's a derby win. Enjoy it, but in terms of getting carried away, as someone who hasn't got a dog in the fight, I'm not going to get carried away because I think you're going to come up against other challenges in the division this year. And Everton, especially away from home, when they're starting to sort of wobble a bit when you get the goals, it's going to make life a little bit easier. But he does what he does best, gets himself an assist. And I thought Robertson as well. I thought Robertson was really, really good in terms of driving with the ball. I thought he did that fantastically a few times. And for the second goal, that's sort of him making his way over to that side and then Trent getting on the ball and putting that cross in and getting it into a good area. So it's good. It's nice to see. James, such a negative force on YouTube. I know, I'm a scumbag. Can we get some dislikes? It's only right. So, yeah. I think happy days, right, for Liverpool. Who have you got next? That's the question. Let me know just quickly in the chat. Who have you got next? Because I think it's like it will be those next few games that's where you're going to get the sort of test for them. I know it sounds weird in a derby game to sort of not take too much from it, but if I'm honest, I'm struggling to take much from it. Newcastle away, of course. See, there you go. I'll tell you what, this is the one, right? In terms of, I don't think we're there yet. I think Liverpool need to win a lot of games. But beat Newcastle, you'll get yourself a point. Okay? You'll get yourself a point. And I hope you get top four because I said it a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? I said there's always a team that kind of goes on a bit of a run. I did wonder if Newcastle would start to sort of slow down a little bit. And with the reinforcements coming back in, I think this is like you got back on your feet here, haven't you? That's the big thing. It's a huge, huge week, isn't it? Newcastle, then Real Madrid. Yeah. My Champions League predictions will be out first thing tomorrow morning. So if you want to enjoy that one, obviously predicting the Liverpool-Real Madrid game amongst all of them. And we're sort of diving into how every single game could be won. So keep an eye out on the channel for that. As I said, if you've hit that notification bell, then you're going to get your hands on it ASAP because you'll be notified. That's kind of how it works. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, then do me a favour, hit the like button. As I said, subscribe and let me know how you're feeling in the comments down below, Everton fans and Liverpool fans. Thanks for watching.